66 people were flying through the night. High above the Mediterranean Sea, everything was normal. Then, inside the cockpit, something ignited. Within minutes, smoke filled the flight deck. The aircraft began turning violently, and one of the world's most advanced passenger jets spiraled out of control. No distress, no warning. Just 3 minutes between a routine flight and total disaster. Investigators would later uncover a chilling possibility. This entire tragedy may have started with something incredibly small. A lit cigarette in an oxygen-filled cockpit. This is the story of EgyptAir Flight 804. In the early hours of May 19, 2016, an EgyptAir passenger jet disappeared. The aircraft had departed Paris Charles de Gaulle Airport, bound for Cairo, Egypt. It was a routine overnight flight. The aircraft was an Airbus, a 320, one of the most popular and technologically advanced airliners ever built. Reliable, efficient, and trusted. Shortly after 11 p.m. on May 18th, the aircraft lifted off from Paris and climbed into the dark European sky. On board were 56 passengers, 7 crew members, and 3 EgyptAir personnel. In total, 66 people. Inside the cockpit sat Captain Mohammed Saeed Ali Shoka, a 26-year-old pilot with more than 6,000 hours of flight experience. Beside him was First Officer Mohammed Ahmad Dassoum, who'd logged around 2,700 hours. Both pilots were considered qualified. The first part of the flight unfolded exactly as expected. The Airbus climbed smoothly to its cruising altitude of 37,000 feet. Communication with air traffic controllers was routine. The skies were calm. Air traffic was light, and the night was quiet. At around 1:30 a.m., the pilots contacted Greek air traffic control as the aircraft entered Greek airspace. Flight 804 passed over Athens, then continued southeast across the Aegean Sea, flying past the islands of Santorini and Crete. Soon, the aircraft crossed the small Greek island of Kos and headed out over the open Mediterranean between Europe and North Africa. Everything appeared normal. Then, without warning, something changed. At around 2:26 a.m., the aircraft's automated reporting system, ESAS, transmitted a series of urgent messages to the ground. These messages revealed something alarming. Smoke had been detected on board the aircraft. The first alert reported smoke in the forward lavatory. Seconds later, another message appeared. Smoke in the avionics bay, a critical electronics compartment located directly beneath the cockpit. Within moments, additional warnings began appearing. Several aircraft systems were starting to fail, but the pilots never made a radio call. Then, radar controllers in Greece noticed something strange. The aircraft suddenly made a sharp 90-degree turn to the left. Moments later, it rolled into a full 360-degree turn to the right. At the same time, the plane began descending rapidly. Within minutes, radar contact was lost at around 10,000 feet. EgyptAir Flight 804 had disappeared. The aircraft crashed into the Mediterranean Sea, killing all 66 people on board. The crash immediately sparked worldwide speculation. Just months earlier, a Russian passenger jet had been destroyed by a bomb. Many believed terrorism was the most likely explanation, but investigators soon discovered evidence pointing somewhere else entirely. When analysts examined the ACAR's messages, a pattern emerged. Every warning pointed to the same problem: fire. The sequence suggested the fire had started near the cockpit and spread rapidly. But what could start a fire inside a modern airliner? To unswear that, investigators looked at the cockpit oxygen system. Just 3 days before, the first officer's oxygen mask had been replaced. Maintenance had switched the supply into emergency mode. In this mode, oxygen flows at a higher pressure, but if it remains there, oxygen can slowly leak into the cockpit environment, and oxygen is one of the key ingredients needed for fire. But oxygen alone cannot ignite flames. A second ingredient is needed: heat. At the time of the accident, EgyptAir still allowed its pilots to smoke in the cockpit. Yes, even in 2016, if a pilot had been smoking and oxygen had been leaking, even the smallest spark could have triggered a rapid fire. At 2:25 a.m., just before the warnings began, the cockpit voice recorder captured unusual sounds. Among them, a distinct hissing noise. Investigators believe this was oxygen escaping. Seconds later, alarms began activating. Smoke spread quickly through the avionics bay. This compartment housed the critical electronic systems. Within minutes, multiple systems began failing. Visibility may have dropped rapidly. At 2:36 a.m., the emergency locator transmitter activated. Within minutes, the Airbus slammed into the Mediterranean Sea. All 66 people lost their lives. An independent analysis by French authorities strongly supported the cockpit fire theory. After the crash, EgyptAir quietly introduced a new rule. Pilots were no longer allowed to smoke on their aircraft. If the theory is correct, EgyptAir Flight 804 was not destroyed by terrorism, but by something as small and as deadly as a single cigarette.